Hi everyone, it's your favourite Atomic Blonde here with my Smile 2 review as promised. So I went to go see that at the weekend. And excuse me a second, I've just realised I've got my phone doing that beeping all the way through there we go. Put that out of range. Sorry about that. Anyway, as promised, yeah, I went to go see Smile 2. Quite enjoyed the film actually. Generally, as sequels go, I think it's a pretty solid entry. My friend really liked it as well. And I think the good thing about this is it's not a complete rehash of the first film. Secondly, it carries on from the first film as well. So we find out Joel's fate. Obviously, at the very end of Smile, he's gone to the cabin to try and save the doctor, and didn't go to plan. So at the start of this film, he's kind of got a theory how he can stop the Smile infection from spreading. As I said, there will be light spoilers here. As always, try and give you enough kind of synopsis of what's going on so I can review the film. But don't want to give too much away, because my mantra on here is always go check it out and make up your own mind. This is just my opinion, my steer. So yeah, so we start off with Joel. He's got a plan. He basically goes to this kind of drug dealer's safe house, hovel, whatever you like to call it, and has a plan to take out the bad guys, take out some bad guys while stopping this Smile from spreading. Now, I don't think it's a big spoiler to say it doesn't go to plan, because otherwise we wouldn't have a sequel. So not all goes to plan, and yeah, things don't end well for Joel, shall we say. The film then moves on, and we're introduced to basically the lead of this film, Sky Riley, who's a pop star. You can tell the character's kind of a mix of, or based loosely, or that kind of Ariana Grande / Lady Gaga type character. We find out that she was in a horrific accident the year before with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend was killed. Her boyfriend in this is played by Jack Nicholson's son, who's very small part in this, but very good. He's he is Ray Nicholson. Yeah, and he plays Paul Hudson, and they're in a car accident. We see that she's got bad scars down her front of her stomach and on her back, and she's got really bad back problems. We get her doing her kind of comeback interview on Drew Barrymore's show, and it's very cringe, as Drew Barrymore's show is, and it is actually obviously Drew Barrymore, sort of giving her pre-written speech. So obviously toxicology was done following the car accident. Both her and her boyfriend were on various drugs, but mainly sort of cocaine, it looks like, from what unravels in the film. And it's basically her doing the usual, I let myself down, I let my fans down, I've been in rehab, I'm coming back, I'm good, etc., etc. Not unsurprisingly, behind all the veneer, she's not so great. And I think when we've seen documentaries on real pop stars, especially like people like Whitney Houston and that, you often see that the pressure they're under, because they're the breadwinner, they're paying for the family, they have to go out and perform whether they're well enough to, or whether they should or shouldn't be. They still the sort of weight of the world on their shoulders. So she's not really ready to come back. She is clean and sober. However, she's suffering from still really bad back pain from the surgeries. So she's taking Vicodin, and there's an accident, and she ends up dropping all her Vicodin down the sink. So she needs to get some more, and because she's a recovering addict, she can't get anything legally through the doctor or GP. So she contacts someone in her phone from obviously her previous drug days, and she's known him for years, Lewis. And she goes over to see him, and when she gets there, he's a total mess. He looks like he's having some sort of bad trip. But as the audience, we kind of clock quite quickly that obviously he's been exposed to the smile demon creature. And again, as you've seen from the trailers, this all kind of plays out. And in the trailer, you see him like pick up the weight and just sort of smack himself in the face with it. It's a bit more graphic than that. He just doesn't do it the once. Okay, so she basically sees him die, and then we all know what happens next. So gradually over the course of the film, her life starts to unravel. She doesn't know what's real, what's happening. She reaches out to her best friend, Gemma, who she's estranged with, obviously when she was on drugs. We kind of get the gist from various text messages and things that obviously they fell out. Like most addicts don't want to hear the truth. There's obviously words exchanged. So as Sky starts to unravel, she reaches out to her best friend, who comes over, and she's trying to work through, like, is she just losing her mind? And obviously things get steadily worse and worse. And then we introduced to a character who is related to one of the characters in the first film, Morris. And he says he knows about this demon and has an idea how it can be stopped. So basically, if she dies, but not by the hands of the demon, in a secluded area, nobody still sees it, the demon has nowhere to go, and that should kill it. So not unsurprisingly, she's like, sod that. I'm not gonna kill myself. Are you insane? And says she'll like find another way. Obviously things just continue to get worse, to the point that she's got kind of having like a real emotional breakdown. She has to give a speech at a charity, and a teleprompter gets stuck, and then she starts basically talking about fame and how toxic it is and how unhappy she is, and everybody's just like looking at her like, what the hell? And then she's due to introduce someone, and the name on the teleprompter is Paul Hudson, who's her dead boyfriend. So of course she absolutely loses it on the stage. The co-presenter goes to sort of comfort her, and she freaks out because she's basically seeing her dead boyfriend in the room, smiling at her. Obviously nobody else can see this, and she kind of goes and knocks this poor co-host, who's like an older lady, absolutely flying. So everybody's like, as they do these days, is recording it and videoing it, and she's having an absolute meltdown. We then find her sort of checked into a private hospital, and this girl is like on the edge. And then you've still got her mother sitting there saying, well, we're just going to take the day out today. Nobody knows where you are, and you'll go on stage as planned tomorrow, which is absolutely horrific. This poor girl is like, at her wit's end. And you've just got the pushy mother saying, well, this isn't all about you, and there's people relying on you, and you're not going to get another chance, and blah, 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 blah. And then we see the mother kill herself. Then it looks like actually the mother didn't, and she did. She's covered in blood, and she tries to escape this hospital to find Morris and say, because she's just literally, I can't take anymore. Her best friend turns up and takes her to Morris. And this kind of ultimately culminates into her being on stage. And then sort of the final piece, as we know, is that she then sees the demon. I must say my friend wasn't too impressed with the demon. She was a bit naff. Kind of get where she's coming from. And it kind of plays out like the first film, like this lead character, you know, succumbs to the demon, but you know, she's performing at a concert, so there's like 70,000 people watching this demon. So we're definitely teed up for a Smile 3. How they'd handle that, or they just say, that's it, it's game over. There's like so many people exposed now, like it's just going to be the end of the world. Who knows? So that's kind of the gist of it. I think it's really great performance in this. The actress Naomi Scott, who plays Sky Riley, I think does a great job. She's very believable. She's not too over the top, you know, and it's a very sort of steady decline. And I think, you know, some of the decisions are a bit like, but you know, this girl's been through a lot. So we get flashbacks to say how the car accident happened, you know, why her mental state is how it is. And there's things that happen throughout the film, like, are these things actually happening? Are they not happening? And all these things are answered, which I really liked about the film. Like, it wraps it all up very neatly towards the end in terms of what things actually happened, what was just in her head, what she was tricked into doing by the demon. And it hangs together very, very well as a film. I think my complaint, as always, is it's probably that little bit too long, and it's good 2 hours for a horror film. You know, so I think that could have been condensed down a bit. I think there was a bit too long spent on not her decline, because obviously that's important, but it could definitely have been tighter. There's some really good jump scares in this. There was one bit where me and my friend leapt out of our seats and landed in the seats behind us. It was like, Jesus, yeah. So there's some really good jump scares in here, as you'd expect. As the first one, you can see there's more budget in this one, but I think it was used well. Say, apart from the sort of nasty at the end, but there's kind of okay, kind of cool aspects to it. But yeah, it's a bit of a, I think, yeah, my friend like thought they could have done a lot better with that. So yeah, I mean, it's always quite good to go see a sequel that that stacks up. I think, like anything, you know, Smile was so new and so something we hadn't really seen before, that the first one's always probably going to be that little bit more, you know, in our memories, or authentic almost, because it's the first time we've seen it. But I think they've done a really good job of creating an interesting story for the second one without treading too much old ground, because they obviously treat the audience as an adult, and would quite right go, well, we assume you have seen the first one, so we don't need to recover everything that you found out in the first one, which is great. So they kind of just throw you straight into the new story after they kind of wrap up Josh's story as well, which I really, really appreciated, because again, a bit of a cliffhanger at the end of Smile. So it'd probably be worth you rewatching Smile 1 if you haven't watched it, or even just the last 15-20 minutes of Smile, just to refresh yourself before going in to see this. So you're sitting there going, because it literally starts, it says it's 6 days later, and you're like, 6 days later. If you're not familiar, you'll be like, 6 days later from what? But it's 6 days later from when Smile 1 ended. So but if you haven't watched it, I think you can grasp, I mean, you can still figure out what's going on. I think it does do a really good job of that you can kind of pick up. Like I say, it's not retreading old ground and revisiting everything we learned before, but there's enough in there that if for any reason you haven't seen Smile 1, you can figure out what's going on and pick it up. It's got that same level of real creepiness, you know, the people smiling at you. And there's this one guy in here, and she's doing like a meet and greet, and this guy comes over, and basically you can have something signed, and then you can have a photo with her, and he's got this really bad dermatological, like eczema or something, and he's just, this guy's really, really creepy. And then she sort of has to have a photo taken with him, and he's like sort of grabbing hold of her and won't let her go, and he's basically a complete stalker, and he's like, I love you, and then she like completely freaks out. And then later on, we come see him again, and the builds. I think they did a really good job of that as well. Like I mean, it's when you're sitting there going, I know they're going to make me jump in a minute. I know they're going to make me jump in a minute. It's coming. I know it's coming. And it still makes you jump anyway. But they do a really, really good job of building up the scares, or even sort of building up the scares for there not to be a scare and then there is a scare, you know, the usual tropes, but done very, very well. So overall, yeah, I think it's quite a pleasant surprise, quite a good sequel. We probably, I mean, like I say, they've left it open. There can be a Smile 3. I probably wouldn't go there unless you could do something really different with it. I mean, like I say, if you're dealing with this demon on a global scale, do the governments get involved? Who knows? But I think it's a solid 1 and 2. Good job. Obviously, if you're a Smile, definitely go check this out. I think it's definitely worth a watch. Builds on the story a bit. And good fun. If you find horror films fun, like I do, definitely worth a watch for Halloween. But do be prepared to jump a fair bit. So that's it, really. Not much more to say than that. But I say all the performances were very, very solid. You like the characters you're meant to like. You dislike the characters you're meant to dislike. I mean, her mother in it is, it's hard to tell because obviously you don't know what's real and what's not real a lot of the time. So you're like, wow, she is actually really saying to her that's pretty darn harsh. But you know, there is a little bit of sort of pushing her and forcing her into doing stuff when clearly, you know, she really isn't well enough to be coming back into the spotlight. So as we probably saw with The Substance, there's a bit of a, you know, shine a light on Hollywood. I think this is very much shine a light on the pop industry and certainly young performers, and how they sort of want their pound of flesh out of everybody. And you know, this poor girl is just, you know, an easy target for the demon. And obviously it's like the Smile demon, she's got demons of her own and all that's kind of explored as well. So overall, I think pretty solid follow-up. Good film. Go check it out. Let me know what you think. Leave me a note if you've been to go see it, if you're planning on go seeing it. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? As always, and of course, please like, share, and subscribe. Really, really helps. So I hope that's helped you make up your mind whether you want to go see Smile 2 or not. But a thumbs up from me. Pretty solid. Great to see a good follow-up, as most sequels are pretty disappointing. So good job all around. So enjoy Halloween. Enjoy watching the films. And I'll be back soon. You take care now.